what you want to be known for?
Insanity and positivity. But yeah, my name is Katherine Cerulean. I'm a local writer who started the Athens Writers Association, and I've been writing for over 20 years with screenplays, novels, and motivational books. When I was quite young, I either wanted to train horses or I wanted to be a writer, because I told stories to myself all the time about horses. I didn't write a ton back then, but I would always be playing out stories in my mind. And then eventually those stories started to include human beings instead of just horses. I remember one time in my early 20s talking about I wouldn't want a job where you just sat at a desk and did the same thing every day, like being a banker and an accountant. And my family was like, but that's what writers do. You just sit down at a desk every day and type. And I was like, I had never thought of it that way. I felt like you get to be a pirate, you get to go on a romantic adventure, you get to go into space. Like, I never thought I was sitting there. I always thought I was doing something that very exciting, and I still feel that way. So. I'm most excited about what I was writing on, Monday. And that's, I started off writing screenplays. Then I got really deeply into novels and some nonfiction. I still love those, but I returned to my first love of screenwriting and especially writing for television. And so this is a 6-part limited series. We used to call them miniseries. And it's about a detective who goes into the past to stop a terrorist before he begins his reign of terror. And I've combined philosophy, time travel, and just some really interesting ideas. And I wanted to make it a perfect loop where all 6 episodes you could start at any place and the story would continue around. There would be one unbroken story. And so I'm really proud that actually did happen against all expectations. So. By the time I started Society Civility in about 2017, I think, I love Jane Austen, and I really only wrote it because I had started to run out of Jane Austen novels to read, and that made me mad. And then I decided, well, lots of other people are writing those kind of books, but I couldn't find exactly one that did just what I wanted, so I started taking long walks in the park and thinking on this idea, and Society Civility was born out of that. Yeah, I'm really proud of it. I actually have an idea for a sequel that takes place 18 years later, and have started writing on that, but I did what I set out to do, and I feel like at least for people who like Jane Austen, it is a fun experience and a worthwhile one. I was part of a really important group to me early on when I was just early 20s, a critique group for novel writers. And that really taught me a lot of everything I know now, and I felt really supported. And after that ended, I searched a few times for something that would be similar, and I couldn't find it. I started the Athens Writers Association, and it was just more rewarding than I would ever have thought of. That I got to meet dozens, if not hundreds, of writers ultimately from around the Athens area, and just, pretty much to a person. They were neat, they had wonderful ideas, and they were always very kind and helpful in whether it was reading a piece or helping put on an event. A lot of pretty much my best friends came out of that group. I recommend Terry Tay as a wonderful writer. I certainly recommend the proprietor of this particular site. I have loved his work and continue to buy it, so definitely recommend Rob White. I hardly imagine the same perfect mixture of culture and still kind of small town community and kindness one of my all-time favorite Athens Writers Association memories was putting on a reading where we were each doing a small part of a larger story about one night in the life of a taxi driver. It was a fun creative project. I never would have thought of it on my own. And not too many people showed up. I think it was a football weekend, but there was about a dozen of us, and we just had the best time. And it was so weird and neat. The main thing that I would want to share with writers at whatever stage, but especially if you're still at that stage where you're a little less sure of yourself or not sure if you have talent, what it takes, or if you can actually do this in whatever level or capacity you want to, it's amazing when you stick with it, that it has every potential to become completely life changing. And that's not even related to success or money or sales. It's related to the work and the time you spend playing with stories, delving deeply into characters, keep writing, keep thinking, and keep pushing those limits. Because what we need is people who have, to create the next incredible, amazing story. And that could be you.